All right, welcome everyone to this special broadcast. Jumping on live right after SummerSlam 2025. This is my first live version of KOABD Extras, a show on Kind of a Big Deal Productions, my YouTube page. And I am here to talk about the happenings of a show that really, for me, I'm pretty amazed at how it all turned out. And so tonight was night 2 of SummerSlam 2025. And when I tell you that this weekend was very interesting as a result of the goings-ons during this show, this 2-night show. First time SummerSlam has been 2 nights. And just going to talk a little bit about it tonight. Maybe we'll have some more discussion on it later in the week. Once again, this is the very first live episode of KOABD Extras, Kind of a Big Deal Productions. Our YouTube channel is there on the top right. Just look us up, Kind of a Big Deal Productions. That is my YouTube page where you will find all of my projects, including the new KOABD Extras. And so tonight, I just wanted to jump on and discuss my thoughts on SummerSlam 2025. I'm not sure if you saw the show. If you did, then feel free to comment in the chat. If you didn't, well, spoilers are headed your way. So I'm not sure how long I'll be on, but I am broadcasting live on YouTube as well as Facebook and on my Kick channel as well. So this is exciting for me because this is a project that I've wanted to kind of do as part of my streaming experience, and that's just to spend some time talking about things that I love and things that I want to talk about. And so I thought, why not talk about SummerSlam? And so thank you all for jumping on. Savage, thank you. I see you there, Captain Sparkle Pants, as well as Nurse Hot Stuff. If you don't like wrestling, well, sorry, that's what this first episode is going to be about. So my goal with KOABD Extras is going to be to do some pre-created content. There's already a couple of videos on the YouTube channel, as well as going live to talk about whatever the heck I want on my streaming platforms. And so at the end of the day, we're just going to chat for a bit. Not sure how long I'll be on tonight, but just wanted to get this first one in the books because, again, 2 nights of SummerSlam. First time it has been 2 nights. It's going to be 2 nights again next year, as SummerSlam 2026 was announced tonight. And it is going to be in Minneapolis, Minnesota, the Twin Cities. And I actually think that I might finally go to a SummerSlam because I love Minneapolis. I've been there a few times. And yeah, we'll see. But tonight, 2025 is what's on tap. And if you watch the show, then you know that night 1 ended in an absolute barn burner of a way. As Seth Rollins cashed in his Money in the Bank contract on CM Punk, who had been champion for just over 5 minutes after he defeated Gunther in the main event of night number 1. It was a very well executed swerve in that just a few weeks ago, Seth Rollins had been injured, or so we thought, in a match against LA Knight. And so by the time night 1 was over, Seth Rollins is your World Heavyweight Champion as a result of cashing in Money in the Bank. Tonight, though, the big news is Cody Rhodes is once again the WWE Undisputed Champion, as he did defeat John Cena in a street fight at night 2 of SummerSlam, and it was a heck of a match. Street fights can go one of 2 ways. They can be sloppy, they can be, completely out of control and just messy. But this match between John Cena and Cody Rhodes really, really showcased what they can do when some of those guardrails of a traditional match are off. I say that because when we saw them earlier this year in the main event of WrestleMania, the match itself really lacked chemistry between the two of them. Now, understand, I am speaking purely as a fan. I am no expert in pro wrestling. I do not have the ring experience nor any other experience in the business. I'm just speaking purely as a fan, someone who's been watching wrestling since probably around 1979. And so when I say that the two of them lacked chemistry, it was just really evident at WrestleMania that there was something off about the match. And you can talk about the results and the road that John Cena went down in the months that followed. But the match itself was something that when we got the rematch, Cody Rhodes winning King of the Ring to qualify for this match tonight at SummerSlam, I worried about whether or not the match itself was going to live up. So I think the street fight premise really did a lot to help this match because it really, really took a lot of the guardrails away from what would have been a traditional wrestling match. And what we got was the result of that. These two put on a heck of a match that really, really was creative in the way the different street fight aspects were used with weapons of different types, tables, chairs. Cody took off the bottom rope and used the pin that is used to secure the rope to the post as a weapon. It looked like he was really moving towards a position where the crowd was beginning to turn on him. But then the match continued. And so not only were they able to preserve Cody's position as a face, as a baby face and a fan favorite, but they did it in a way that though the title changed hands, both he and John Cena at the end of the night maintained a strong position in terms of their respective roles. Now, I'm not sure I'm alone in this. A lot of folks kind of struggled with this past Friday's SmackDown when all of a sudden John Cena went from being heel for the last several months, just sort of one moment to the next, went back to his old babyface ways, and the crowd just ate it up. And they were really, really behind Cena tonight. I mean, Cena just can't do any wrong because he was being cheered as a heel, he was being cheered as a babyface, and yeah, in fact, the biggest moment of the night would happen after the match was over, when of all people to make an appearance, Brock Lesnar returns. I did not dare to dream that we would get in this last John Cena run here in 2025. I didn't dare to think that we would get a Cena Lesnar match out of this. And so, with 4 months remaining in his time, we will be seeing Cena facing off against, as Nurse Hot Stuff calls him, Beefy McLarge Huge, Brock Lesnar. So we'll see how that turns out. These two have always had good chemistry in terms of their work in the ring. I'm going to have to go back and really sort of take a look at, what their history was, because there's a lot. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out. So, the second night of SummerSlam was stronger than the first, I think, in terms of overall matches. And both nights left us sort of breathless with the occurrences that happened. Just to give a quick rundown of the matches that happened over night 1 and 2 of SummerSlam, I'll comment on a few of them and then, just sort of give you my overall thoughts. Night 1, and these are probably out of order. So I was trying to recall, and I'll say that to make the point that night 1, except for a couple of things, was not too memorable in my opinion. If you enjoyed it, then by all means feel free to comment. But I wasn't really a fan of night 1 overall. Tiffany Stratton did retain over Jade Cargill in what was a pretty good match. There's still, Cargill is still kind of working out some things in her ring work. Tiffany Stratton continues to, work hard and prove that she really is legit in terms of her talent. But both of them put together a pretty decent match. Tiffany Stratton retaining the women's heavyweight championship, women's world championship over Jade Cargill. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss pick up the women's tag team titles with a win over Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez of Judgment Day. That was a really fun match. That was really well put together. There were some sequences within that match that really were just so well timed on the part of all the participants. But at the end of the night, Charlotte Flair does pick up a title finally since her return, alongside Alexa Bliss as women's tag team champions. Roman Reigns started out the night with Jey Uso in taking out what I'm calling Team Braun Squared. Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed teamed up to go against Jey Uso and Roman Reigns. And at the end of the night, well, at the end of the first match, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso picked up the win in that one, which is a pretty entertaining match. And it did a really great job of setting up the events that would end the evening. In that, that's the only time we thought we would see Paul Heyman and his team. So Team Braun goes down to Jey Uso and Roman Reigns on night one. Sami Zayn defeated Karrion Kross in what was, these are really two talented guys. They really, really put on a decent match. The story was but Sami Zayn hopefully is done with this feud with Karrion Kross. I really want to see Kross worked into higher than a mid-card level. He's so talented. There's so much talent there with Karrion Kross and Sami Zayn. And it'll be interesting to see what they'll do with them now that their feud looks to be done. In the match that really was frustrating for me, it's always tough to bring in a celebrity. And SummerSlam 2025 brought us Jelly Roll. He's a musician, a musical artist. I'm not overly familiar with his material. I do know who he is. But he teamed up with Randy Orton to face off against Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. And while it was evident that Jelly Roll made a definite attempt at, really, really fending for himself well in the ring, I just think that combination of McIntyre and Logan Paul and then putting him alongside Randy Orton didn't help in terms of his look throughout the course of the match, because he really, really seemed outclassed amongst those guys. But he gave it a decent go, took some huge, huge shots. He was driven through a table by Logan Paul, and two, actually. One was the announcer's table, and the other was just I'm going to call it a regular table. But at the end of the night, he took the pin, and Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul were victorious over Randy Orton and Jelly Roll. At the end of the night, once again, CM Punk did defeat Gunther to capture the World Heavyweight Championship, but just short of 6 minutes later, Seth Rollins revealed in one of the most beautifully executed Money in the Bank cash-ins. Seth Rollins walks away at the end of the night with the World Heavyweight Championship, and that story is now going to pick up even more steam because there's just so many different potential matchups now that Seth Rollins is going to have ahead of him. Definitely CM Punk is going to want, a rematch. But then you've got Gunther, you've got, so many other people that can line up. LA Knight, who he supposedly got injured against, Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, even Roman Reigns. We still haven't gotten Roman versus Seth, and that's been due for a while. So it'll be very interesting to see where this storyline goes now, especially as he continues with his faction with Paul Heyman at his side. Night 2 opened with a triple threat match that included Rhea Ripley and Io Sky challenging Naomi for the women's world title. This match really, really started the night off strong. Naomi has really, really risen to the occasion of holding this title. And when you put her in the ring against Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, who have their own history that was woven into this story, for Naomi to come out on top in such a convincing fashion was really, really entertaining to see and a lot of fun to watch go down. And so it's great to see Naomi continue with that championship, as I think it was well earned and is really, really showing off the hard work she puts into all that she does in the ring. And so it was great to see Naomi retain. And it'll be interesting to see what happens from here. The Wyatt Six defended their World Tag Team Championships in the messiest tables, ladder, and chairs match ever. There were 6 teams that participated in this TLC match. For those who may not know, tables, ladders, and chairs is exactly what TLC stands for, and it's exactly what it sounds like. To win the titles, you got to climb the ladder and grab them, but you can also use chairs and you can also use tables. And boy, were they. I was at the second TLC match ever at WrestleMania 17 when it was the Dudley Boys, Edge and Christian, and the Hardy Boys. And 3 teams is enough. 6 teams was a mess. At the end of the night, the Wyatt Six end up retaining as tag team champions, as they are the ones that were able to. So much happened, but all you need to know is they climbed the ladder, they grabbed the belts, and they kept them. And so, yeah, that's all I can say about that match. It was an absolute cluster. All right, what else happened? Becky Lynch retains the women's intercontinental title over Lyra Valkyria. Bailey costs Lyra the match by accidentally hitting Valkyria when she was intending to strike Lynch. And now Valkyria cannot challenge for the Intercontinental title as long as Becky Lynch remains champion. So, way to take out one of your newer talents from the mix, who has really, really been super. I have nothing against Becky Lynch, but Lyra Valkyria just she's so talented and was on an upward trajectory until Lynch came back, and now we'll see what happens. We'll see what the WWE does with Lyra Valkyria, who's just an absolute talent. And yeah, I questioned the way this played out, but there you go. In the 4th match of the night, night 2, Solo Sikoa. This one surprised me. In a cage match against Jacob Fatu for the United States Championship, Solo Sikoa ends up retaining due to the interference of his MFTs, his family tree. And so, yeah, I'm not mad that Solo Sikoa is continuing to carry the U.S. Championship, simply because he, over the course of 3 years, probably longer, really earned his opportunity to carry this belt. Even in the months after Roman Reigns lost the title, he carried the Bloodline story as was intended. And so this belt around Solo Sikoa's waist does a lot to elevate him. But I really thought this was going to be Fatu going over. Now, I will say that in my opinion, Jacob Fatu doesn't need a belt in order to be seen as a threat and seen as a viable talent. He is just talented on his own. And so I guess now what we look for is, okay, will this feud continue? Or what do you do with Jacob Fatu? He's a monster. He's an absolute monster in talent. And, he should be given an opportunity to shine even further, and then let Solo move on to his next challenger. So it'll be interesting to pay attention to see what happens now. In the 5th match of the night, one of the matches I was really looking forward to because I had a feeling I knew what was going to happen. Dominic Mysterio defending the Intercontinental title against AJ Styles, one of my absolute favorite wrestlers of all time. And I fully expected for Dominic Mysterio to come out of this match on top with the IC title, and AJ Styles being used as a way to elevate Dominic Mysterio even further. And that's exactly what happened. They both put on a fantastic match that had so many homages to Eddie Guerrero. And so, some might even say that it was too many. I don't care. I loved every single homage that was done. This was 20 years since Dominic Mysterio was the center of a feud between Rey Mysterio, his father, and Eddie Guerrero, the late, great Eddie Guerrero. And this was in 2005 SummerSlam. It was the match for custody of Dominic. And 20 years later, this match between Dominic Mysterio and AJ Styles was an absolute homage to Eddie Guerrero, and I loved every second of it. It really was placed nicely as it was the match right before the main event. And so not only did it entertain the audience, but it really showcased how far Dominic Mysterio has come in terms of his talent and his overall work rate. And of course, you just can't look bad when you're dealing with AJ Styles as your opponent. And so AJ Styles really did a great job to elevate Dominic Mysterio and really solidify him as the contender that he is. And so it's great to see Dominic continue on with the Intercontinental title after SummerSlam. Finally, we got the main event. Cody Rhodes facing off against John Cena, the rematch from their WrestleMania match. And like I said earlier, this match, I was really kind of apprehensive because it was already going to be an issue of what will their chemistry be like after their WrestleMania match was such a kind of iffy in terms of how it looked and how they worked together. Again, making it a street fight was smart, but I was not a fan of the sudden change of John Cena going back to his classic John Cena self. As a matter of fact, I thought at some point there's going to be a swerve. There's going to be something that this was all done to fool us. And I thought, man, how's that going to look after the big, you know, swerve of last night? Do you end night 2 with a similar result? Well, as you guys know, if you've been watching, John Cena has been coming out to, his music, yes, but no video on his, in his entrance. It was just the name John Cena. Well, it was back to classic John Cena tonight with a full entrance, music, video, everything. The crowd ate it up. They were just so behind John Cena in this match, but it was great because they're still behind Cody Rhodes. And so it was really an interesting match that went back and forth. And the use of the street fight stipulations was just pretty awesome in that it really did a lot to give these guys the freedom to really, really tell a story. And so I was not unhappy at all with the result. I was surprised that Cody Rhodes did regain the Undisputed Championship. I'm not unhappy about it. But there was that thought of like, well, what now with John Cena? He's got 4 months remaining. What do you do with him if he's not going to be the champion? And then, just as I was having that thought, music hits, pyro goes off, and here comes Brock Lesnar, beefy McLarge huge, as Susan calls him. So we'll see where that goes. We'll see where that goes because it's been a while since Brock Lesnar's been in the ring. That doesn't mean anything when you're talking about Brock Lesnar. He's an absolute talent, no matter where he's fighting. But yeah, I'm going to say that by the time that this SummerSlam ended, just a few minutes ago, well, almost an hour, it gave us a lot of paths that will play out over the next several weeks and months as the remainder of 2025 happens. This is usually around the time where I start to really slide off of my watching wrestling or catching up with wrestling until Survivor Series, which is another one of my favorite events. And I'll tell you what, the WWE did a great job of piquing my interest at the conclusion of this event so that I feel like, okay, all right, well, let's see what's next and let's see what's going to get us between now to November for Survivor Series. So Susan, Nurse Hot Stuff, great question. Why was Brock Lesnar there? That's the question. I mean, obviously to challenge John Cena and to be part of his farewell. But that's all we know for now. He did deliver an F5 and leave him laying out. That's it. That's all we got. But that's a lot that a story can be built off of. So it'll be very interesting. He's been away from the ring for quite a while. I don't have a number of months or years, but it's been a while. And at the end of the day, I didn't think we'd see him back. I hoped because I thought, well, why not one more for John Cena and Brock Lesnar? And it looks like we're going to get it. So there you go. That's a quick rundown of SummerSlam 2025. I would say that the two biggest moments for me were a combination of CM Punk finally winning the World Championship and then within a few minutes losing it to Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins now has two amazing Money in the Bank cash-ins, probably the two best ever, in my opinion. If you feel different, please feel free to say so. But you just can't. I mean, this is a guy who's so creative in how he cashes in. And yeah, there's storytellers and writers and so forth, but this second one that he did on night one to cash in against CM Punk was just so well thought out, well played for a few weeks. I don't have any doubt that there was potentially an injury a few weeks ago with LA Knight in the match that he went down. Obviously, thankfully, it wasn't. And so, yeah, an interesting twist to end night one that really was like, okay, yeah, I'm really interested in night two now to see what happens with, the remaining matches. So My two favorite matches of the night were the main events. CM Punk Gunther was fantastic. The cash in by Seth Rollins really, was awesome. I don't know if you want to call that a match because there really was no match. And then tonight's main event, John Cena, Cody Rhodes, really made up for the WrestleMania match and really, really told a great story. So fantastic on those two. If I had to pick, what's the word I'm looking for? Sort of a surprise that was a pleasant surprise and a fantastic, fantastic result was again Naomi retaining her title against Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky are my absolute favorite female wrestlers at this point. For Naomi to hang the way she did and really outshine them in some regards, just love continuing to see her get better and better every time out. And so kudos to Naomi for retaining. And yeah, it was an interesting show. So at the end of the day, that is SummerSlam 2025. This was the very first live KOABD extras, kind of a big deal extras. I do plan to do more of these. I am streaming tonight on my Facebook page because it's mine and I wanted to just to kind of give people a chance to see what's going on. But I will be doing these periodically. Some will go, we've done almost 30 minutes tonight. Some will go longer. I'm just going to use this as a platform to talk about whatever the heck I want to talk about. Tonight it was SummerSlam. Tomorrow it could be something else. So be on the lookout because I will be popping in and out and just using this as a way to share my thoughts on just about anything. It will normally be, and it's broadcasting on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, please, please, please make sure you click subscribe on my Kind of a Big Deal Productions page where you can catch this show. Susan and I have a show called Word Sandwich, our regular Thursday night podcast. My show, episode 1, is on here as well. And just a bunch of other cool stuff. On the top right above me, you can see my other platforms and social media. Join me on Sexy Potato Surge on X, on TikTok, Sergio the Sexy Potato, and once again, YouTube, Kind of a Big Deal Productions. If you're watching me on Kick, thank you so much for doing that. Make sure you click that follow button because this journey is going to continue. I'm excited to be able to give you my thoughts on all kinds of stuff. And if you hung out tonight for this one, thanks for hearing me talk about my passion for pro wrestling and the SummerSlam show here tonight. So there you go. That first one is in the books. I cannot do this without you. So thanks for hanging out. I look forward to future times on here with you. I think I might keep doing it on my Facebook. We'll see. But yeah, be on the lookout. I will try to post when I'll be doing these as they will be kind of scattered throughout the week across my different platforms. With that in mind, if you were on tonight and commenting, thank you so much for doing so. I really do appreciate that. Gregory, Goyo, man, buddy, good to see you. Thank you for stopping in. Kevin Sparkle Pants, Nurse Hot Stuff, Savage. Thank you all very much for being here for this first one. Just to preview some other things I'm going to be talking about. I've got a list of things actually that my next episode will be talking about. I've got some movies that I want to talk about and some future projects that are coming up in terms of movies and shows that are on their way that I find very interesting. We're going to talk about food and film. You'll see what that means if you hang out with me soon. And quite a few other things. Just we're going to get together and talk. And so with that in mind, thank you so much for hanging out tonight. Have a wonderful evening. Get some rest, depending where you are. If it's morning, then have a great day. But until next time, I am Sergio the Sexy Potato saying thank you for being with me. I look forward to doing this with you again. Don't forget, just as the sign says behind me, you are awesome, you're amazing, and the world's a better place because you are in it. I'll see you soon. Take good care, love yourself, and love one another. We'll see you soon. Have a good night. God bless.